10. Which left the third floor of the house. And here at the summit were the two bedrooms that were the shared domain of Kaylee Gonsalves and Madison Mogan. Divvying up the top floor that way seemed only natural. The two 21-year-olds had grown up sharing pretty much everything. It was as if the two girls had been born under the same star. Same age, same schooling, same cute short skirt, tight-fitted jeans fashion sense, same bubbly 100-watt smile, same long cascading blonde hair, although Kaylee's shiny yellow color owed a lot more to nurture than nature. At a quick glance, the only immediately noticeable difference was that Maddie was petite, a pint-sized yet no less glam version of her best friend. To just about everyone who knew them, it was as if they were two parts of one whole. Their names might just as well have been hyphenated. Kaylee Maddie. The two girls had met in the 6th grade at the Coeur d'Alene Charter Academy. It was a proudly rigorous school and provided a no-nonsense college prep education. It offered, the school administrators would brag, a chess club but no football team. Magazines repeatedly ranked it the best secondary school in the state. And it hadn't taken long before Kaylee and Maddie were champing at the bit to get out. They had arrived at the school by different, outwardly incompatible paths. Kaylee had grown up the giggling, high-spirited middle child in a family of 5. Of the brood, she was the daredevil, the one who would lie flat on the ground as the garage door descended like a guillotine and, as her siblings cheered her on, wait until the last possible moment to roll to safety. And she was the prankster, the one who removed the batteries from the TV remote and then watched with suppressed laughter as her grandfather ranted about how the darn thing was inexplicably broken. It was a happy home and a happy childhood. Her father, Steve, had studied computer science and played football at the University of the Pacific in California, and then gone on to earn a good living bouncing from one IT job after another. With his wife, Christy, they first owned a rambling house on a suburban tree-lined street right near the shores of Lake Coeur d'Alene. Then, their hearts set on living in the country, the Goncalveses bought a 7-acre spread with pastures and woods and a house large enough for each of the kids to have their own bedroom in nearby Rathdrum. In time, they added a pool to make things even more perfect. For Maddie, childhood was a more grinding time. Ben and Karen Mogan's marriage had cracked from the strains caused in part by Ben's drug use and the all-too-frequent struggle to pay bills. They separated when Maddie was a toddler. In the decades to come, Ben would still be pleading guilty to misdemeanor drug raps and going off to do 90 days in jail, and his new wife, Corey, Maddie's stepmother, would face drug charges too. Karen remarried Scott Laramie, and now Maddie, trying to make the best of things, called both Ben and her new stepfather Dad. She grew up in a working-class neighborhood in a small, tight house on La Crosse Avenue in Coeur d'Alene. It was a bit down at the heels, and in fact it looked like it could use a fresh coat of paint. But same as nearly everywhere in Idaho, there wasn't too long of a hike to a shimmering lake or a grove of evergreen trees. Maddie liked to pretend she was a fairy. It didn't matter if things were rocky at home. She could escape to the twinkling magic of her inner life. But once she met Kaylee, it was as if there was no longer any need to escape to a splendid imaginary world. Maddie now had the real thing, and it wasn't just her wonderful Bobbsey twins-like friendship with Kaylee. The Goncalveses had taken her into their family, too. They routinely set another place for her at the dinner table when she came over after school to do homework, and Maddie joined in when it was time to put the ornaments and tinsel on the tall Christmas tree in the living room. When they went off on family vacations and the Goncalveses made a point of escaping whenever they could from the long, brutal Idaho winters, they took Maddie along. From Belize to Cabo to Waikiki, the two girls posed for family snapshots in their bikinis in one glistening tropical holiday backdrop after another. The Goncalveses would both say that they grew to think of Maddie as another daughter. And the bonds only grew stronger, between both sets of parents as well as the girls themselves, after Kaylee and Maddie presented their proposal. It was a well-thought-out document. The two co-conspirators had spent a lot of time huddled in Kaylee's room refining their arguments and zeroing in on the proper firm but at the same time non-combative tone. It was midway through their 8th grade year and their minds were made up. They had had enough of the demanding charter academy and wanted out. Instead, they hoped to transfer to Coeur d'Alene's Lake City High, where they wouldn't be required to wear ugly old lady khaki skirts and on Friday nights they could cheer on the Timberwolves with the rest of the town. and the prospect of a more manageable homework load was pretty enticing too. After the parents read the co-authored document, they were too impressed to put up much of a fight. And besides, they wanted their daughters to be happy. Kaylee and Maddie were indeed happy at Lake City. Without trying very hard, they did well in their studies and had time for active social lives as well as family vacations. They went to parties and to proms. They cheered on the Timberwolves during Spirit Week and wore short black dresses to the homecoming dance. On graduation day, they posed side by side on the green grass of the football field in their purple gowns, both wearing similar white dresses underneath. Kaylee grasped a pink bouquet in her hand because pink was Maddie's favorite color. "I wouldn't have wanted anyone else to be the main character of my childhood years," Kaylee wrote under Maddie's yearbook photo. And Maddie replied, "I love you more than life. My best friend forever and more." Then in August, together of course, they were off to the University of Idaho. But then something unpredictable happened. Maddie pledged Pi Beta Phi, and, against all expectations, Kaylee joined Alpha Phi. Both were party houses, and both attracted the type of young women who, to an outsider's admiring eye, seemed impressively poised and confident. So why had Kaylee and Maddie finally decided to put a pause in their hyphenated existence? The answer might very well lay in the critical mindsets of the sorority members who were doing the choosing. The girls might not have received offers to join the same sorority, but many people came to believe that the decision was, at its core, of the girls' own doing. They had come to college eager to spread their wings, and the only way to soar, they had decided, was to fly off on their own. For the first 3 years at the university, while they remained best friends, they also enjoyed new independent lives. Their sororities kept them busy, and they were both industrious students. Kaylee was enrolled in the university's College of Letters, Arts, and Social Sciences, and she was breezing through it with flying colors. In fact, she'd taken sufficient additional courses each term and done so well that she planned to graduate early, at the end of the fall term of her senior year. Maddie, who was a marketing major, made the dean's list every semester, and accomplished this feat while working part-time as a waitress at the Mad Greek downtown in Moscow, and also handling the PR and marketing duties at Pi Beta Phi. And there was something else that couldn't help but drive them further into their own worlds. They had each fallen in love. And like all true first loves, it made everything else in their lives seem trivial.